It's memorization time. All right, you are going to learn how to multiply binomials. Binomial meaning two terms. All right, so I have this binomial, these two times these two terms, multiplying two binomials together. Multiplying two binomials together, and yeah, multiplying two more binomials together. So how do we do that? There are a lot of different methods, and today I'm going to start by teaching you what's called the FOIL method. All right, FOIL method stands for something. That is called an acronym. Okay, first. If you ain't first, you're last. Outside. Inside. And if you're not first, you are last. Okay? First, outside, inside, last. Hopefully that you over on the other side of that screen are writing that down because you will need to remember that acronym. That is basically how this entire method works. You need to know that first, outside, inside, last spells out FOIL. So whenever you're asked to use the FOIL method, or if that's the method you choose out of the ones that I will teach, then you know right away. Start with my first. First what, you might be asking? Your first term, silly. That's the first term in this binomial. That's the first term in this binomial. So I'm going to just say this term times that term, my first term. Why is it the first? Well, that would be the first. That would be the second. First, second. First, second. First, second. They're binomials, so there's really only two options. Okay, so my first is 6x times x. I'm going to multiply those together, and I'm going to get 6x squared. Okay, now we go to outside. What do you mean by the outside? It's like if I was going to start in the center of this entire thing, go to the outside, my furthest out. That's a 6x and a 2. My outside terms are 6x, furthest to the left, and 2, furthest to the right. Multiply those. 6x times 2 is going to give me a grand total of 12x. Man, it's raining hard outside right now. Okay, now inside. Well, if arrows going out means outside terms, arrows going in will mean my inside terms. What are my innermost two terms? That's a -4 and an x. -4 times x gives me -4x. And then last but not least, see what I did there? Last but not least, well, if these were my first terms with each binomial, because these are the second terms, these are my last terms. So now I'm going to multiply -4 times 2. -4 times 2 is going to give me a -8. I have all of this written out. Right now it's 4 terms, but 2 of them can go together. I have a 6x squared. I don't see any other x squared, so that's going to stay as is. 6x squared. I have a 12x and a -4x. Both of those have an x. Those are like terms. 12x minus 4x is going to give me positive 8x. And then last but not least, I have a -8, a constant all by itself. So that's just going to stay -8. What I have done is I've multiplied together these two binomials to make it into one singular trinomial. All right, how did I do it? First, outside, inside, last. First, outside, inside, last. Do it in that order. Okay, let's do 2 more just so that you get the hang of this. It is kind of tricky, but once you've done it enough times, you've got the practice done, you're going to remember the pattern and which ones to multiply by which ones. So first, my first 2 terms are 4r and r. That's going to make 4r squared. My outside terms are an r and a -6. That's going to make -6r. My inside terms, that's a -3 and a 4r. That's going to make -12r. And then my last terms, these were my first, these are my last. Negative times a negative makes a positive. 3 times 6 makes 18. Looking at them all, these two are like terms, so those are going to go together. These are all on their own, so they stay exactly as is. 4r squared. -6r minus 12 more r is going to take me back to -18r, and I have plus 18 at the end, and that is my final result. 1 more to go. Let's do it. 2p squared times 3p. These are my first terms. They come first in each binomial. 2p squared times 3p. 2 times 3 gives me 6. P squared times p gives me to the third. Outside, my outermost, that's 2p squared and 2. Okay? 2p squared times 2 gives me positive 4p squared. Inside, my innermost, 4 and 3p. 4 times 3 gives me a 12, and a p stays a p. And then my last, these were my first, these are my last. 4 times 2 gives me 8. Look it all over, and what is a like term between these four? I have p to the third, p squared, p, and 8. None of those are like terms. None of them have the same amount as an exponent. They're all different. We're great. We're done. How beautiful it is. All right. This is the FOIL method. Some of you may love it. Some of you may hate it. There are 2 other methods that I'm going to teach you on how to multiply binomials, so don't freak out. If this one is not one that you're really feeling great about, stick around, watch more videos, and I'll show you 2 other methods in order to do this. All right. Good luck on your upcoming test.